Hey, everyone. What day is this? It's Wednesday, Woden's Day, Odin's Day. Hello, this is the Disappointed Cat morning show. My name's Andy Hall. Did I already say that? I don't know. We've got a bunch of stories coming in today. I'm going to tease the question of the day. Justin, the empathetic atheist, who runs that channel, Justin, who was an atheist, is now a Muslim. I don't know if anyone else knows about this story. I only heard about it. I did a cursory, quick look. Haven't found that much about the story, but I'm always interested when atheists convert. I'm just interested in why people do the things we do. We have such bad brains, and we're a crazy species. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me get further ahead of myself. Let's talk about the stories we're going to be reviewing today. Trump official banned from public office for 4 years. Oath enforcers. That sounds like brown shirts. Greenland. Why is Greenland important? Well, we're going to talk about that. And what's going on with Texas? And it's nothing good. Let's do something funny.
It just occurred to me that I might be a bit much. Like, I think maybe if I met myself, if I met me, I think I might be like, yeah, he was nice, but he's a bit much.
I think I might be a bit much for a bunch of people, and maybe you in the chat might be a bit much for out of frame, like not just this bit much, but this bit much for a lot of people, especially if those people are religious or conservatives. Excuse me. Good morning, Jess M. Hope you're doing well today. Remember, Sammy Jenkins, how you doing? Man, there's a lot to talk about. There's a lot to talk about, everyone. There is a lot to talk about. First, I want to talk about something that Dr. Mordecai, my nephew's kid, just started liking Jordan Peterson. As a person who's taken a class with Jordan Peterson, as a person who's read through two of his books, the 12 Rules in particular, what I can say about Jordan Peterson, and it's common for self-help gurus, because that's all he is. He's a self-help guru with a conservative bent that targets young men. So Jordan Peterson, he wraps up some basic common sense strategies on how to succeed in life. Like, maybe you should make your bed in the morning. And then he wraps that up in this kind of conservative wrapping. So he Trojan horses his conservative message with common sense type of advice. Jordan Peterson. I have a lot to say about Jordan Peterson, and I've written blog articles making fun of Jordan Peterson and the word salad that he creates. Good morning, Jesse Bear. I hope he cleans his room now. Well, maybe he will, maybe he won't. So the question, and I mentioned this before the show started, is Justin from the Empathetic Atheist Show converted to Islam, apparently. A buddy of mine sent me a message saying, and I saw it on Facebook, everything comes from Facebook, right? All the information of the world. So I'm intrigued. I don't know if anyone else has heard about this, about Justin from the Empathetic Atheist Show becoming a Muslim. I've been on his show a number of times, and I never had a problem with being on his show. I've had some issues about how he's run his show. Don't get me wrong about that. But I'm putting a pin in that. I'm going to talk about what I think about Justin turning. Oh, hey. Okay, so here we go, Sammy. I just watching someone interview him prior to your stream, laughing in disbelief. I need you to cleanse my palate, not one. Please, for the love of no one's God. Yeah. I'm intrigued. What's up, Rainbug? We're talking about Justin from the Empathetic Atheist Show. Converting to Islam. And Sammy Jenkins had just watched, remember Sammy Jenkins, but just watched an interview with him. I'm always intrigued about why people do things. And as many of you know, and I think psychiatry points to this, that we do things first, and then we figure out the reasons why we do them afterwards. So in other words, the action precedes our understanding of that action many times. So am I saying that basically the entire species, in terms of understanding who we are we all drunk and it's the morning after and we don't know who we slept with and now we're trying to figure out why? Yeah, that's how our brains are. For all intents and purposes, sure, that's an extreme situation of having a one-night stand and not remembering what we did or why we did it. But I think in general, most of us, we do actions, we engage in decisions, and we don't fully understand why, and we spend a lot of our lives trying to figure out why we do the things we do. That's what I think. So, and a lot of the time, our understanding of why we make decisions changes over time. So, for an example, why I did action X 12 years ago, well, I may have a totally new understanding of it now that I'm a bit older and I have a bit more perspective on it. So, and so I'm going to go back to the Samuel J. I just converted to no lamb, no vanity, and no am goodism. Yeah, indeed. Yeah, Jesse Bear saying, I've known a few atheists that get into Islam or Hinduism, right? Most are joining very progressive versions of either, in my experience. True. I can see that. I can definitely see why an atheist would want to go into a more liberal version of Hinduism or of Islam, or even a mystical form of Islam, like the swirling dervishes. Is this a joke? Yeah, but I'm going to go with it. I would be, if I was going to convert to Islam, it would be a swirling dervish because I got a few pounds to lose, and the swirling seems like a really excellent cardiovascular exercise. And I've never have seen a chubby swirling dervish. So I would do it for the aerobic exercise, to tell you the truth. Here we go. Justin told me he was swayed by a logical argument for Islam. I do not know what that means. Right. Well, you know what I think it's safe to say that Justin was for real an atheist, because there's always this knee-jerk reaction to say, well, he was never an atheist. Just like Christians will say, well, you were never a Christian if you deconverted or if you switched to another faith. So I think that's one of the things we can definitely say, is that Justin was an atheist at one point. Him switching over to another team, doesn't mean that he wasn't a quote unquote real atheist, right? That's something that we can all agree on, I think. And you know what, Brainbug, and chat, we all think we do stuff for rational reasons and for logical reasons, right? Especially those of us who want to be skeptical. Even when I was doing the most insane activities, I would always have a really good reason behind it. You look at, I've worked with many people, many clients who had cognitive disabilities and with brain injuries, and they would tell you very good reasons why, the TV is talking to them, why Alex Trebek is actually talking to them through the TV, and logical, very logical, untrue, but logical. Well, Brainbug, I have to tell you, brother and sisters out there, we all feel like we've been rejected by the atheist community to some extent. All right. I mean, it's very easy to feel that way if you're not in certain cliques. I have a certain clique. It's not very cliquey. I mean, I just know people that I blog with. I've been doing this for the last 10 or 15 years, and I've developed relationships with. But rejected by the atheist community. However, he surrounded himself by the worst kind of, oh, wow. Well, that's disturbing. And the thing is, I've been to a mosque. Of course, I was also, a Christian for a long time, when I was much younger. And the thing is that those people are nice. They are nice to people, right? And many times when, the first time I was in a mosque, I was in the coffee and donuts part afterwards, after the show, after the festival, after the services. And, I was just hanging out with a bunch of dudes, right? There are no women around, right? That should tell you something. If the service that you're attending have women sitting at the back of the bus, that's a problem. And that's a problem I can't get around personally without even thinking about the logical problems about God existing. Yeah, if women are sitting at the back of the bus, that's a no-go for me. And oh man, I just so much to talk about Jordan Peterson. I still want to talk about Justin for a few minutes. And the thing is, it is, I think, doing this space, I don't think I've met a content creator, a blogger, or a YouTuber who feels at one time or another the atheist community turned their back on them, or that they weren't accepted with open arms. I think that's just a natural thought to have. I think that's just natural to feel, is that there aren't people there fully accepting you. Let's see. Going through this entire chat here. I love a good Broadway show too. My favorite Broadway show, Guys and Dolls. I'm not going to lie to you. Wow. Okay, here we go. Brain bug. If he's in a crowd that insists on calling me a bundle of sticks, I'm not going to. Yeah. Here's the thing, right? This goes. What's up, Tobin? We're talking about Justin from the Empathetic Atheist show, becoming a Muslim. I'll tell you this: good fences make good neighbors. And you can tell this is kind of a triggering experience for me. If something goes on, like within your family, like if your family doesn't like your wife or your boyfriend, then you got to put boundaries on your family. If there are people in your clique that aren't being good to someone, then you got to put the boundary down and say, hey, I see what you're doing. Please don't do that. So putting down boundaries, it's really important. I try to do it in a nice way, in a funny way, but yeah, you got to put boundaries on not only people that are outside of your clique, but especially people within your clique. A bundle of sticks that gets me irritated and agitated just thinking about it. Brain bug. Let's see what else. Yes, in Orthodox synagogues, yeah, I can't do that either. I wouldn't buy into that. I could, yeah. Well, I've been inadvertently steeped in this drama due to my proximity to YFNA. If I was closer into that community, maybe I would know what YFNA is. I don't really know what that is. Something atheist at the end, I'm sure. Why are we going to get to the news? We're going to get to the news. All right, we're going to get to the news. Believe me. I just wanted to talk a bit more about Justin, an atheist, the empathetic atheist, becoming a Muslim. I don't know why he's keeping his channel named the Empathetic Atheist. It would be like, empathetic Muslim. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe that's changing. The thing is, people can change slowly. So maybe he will rebrand his channel at some point. I don't know. Oh, it's Ethan's channel. All right. Thank you. Ethan, good guy. I like Ethan. Your friendly neighborhood atheist. Yep. That did puzzle me when I heard about Justin. Yeah, it's interesting. Once again, like I was saying a little while ago, people do things, and I would say a majority of things, of actions, for irrational reasons, right? And I'm including myself in this. I'm including myself on this. Why do I eat the Boston cream donut? Because when I know it's not good for me, well, because I really like Boston cream donuts. That's circular logic, but it's yeah. So I think it's safe to say that, I would be interested in hearing what he has to say. But yeah, man, having people around him insulting you, brain bug, that's not okay. That's American Sign Language. That's stop right here. This is, this is stop. You got to stop that kind of behavior. All right. Now we can get into Jordan Peterson. And as for Jordan Peterson, my one brother at peak age for this crap almost fell into the BS. Well, yes, exactly. I think Jordan Peterson, he is a very charismatic person. Like I said, I took a graduate level class with him back in Harvard in the early 90s, in the mid 90s. Man's very charismatic. he just gish gallops. He just throws out words, this word salad that really sounds smart. But if you were going to take a second look at it, if you're going to take a step back and look, it's like Ben Shapiro. Ben Shapiro, he just rap battles his way through conversations, right? It's just a stream of words. And to people who aren't that bright or people who are searching for meaning in their life, that can seem like they know what they're talking about when they really don't. And I am going to go on the record for saying this. This is why comedians are more honest than people like Ben Shapiro and Jordan Peterson. We speak slow enough so that every single word is understandable. So even though we might be telling a joke, telling a funny story, we want you to understand every single word, unlike people like Jordan Peterson and unlike people, Ben Shapiro. They just want to gish gallop you and just word fuck you until you just kind of wear you down. They want to wear you down. Yeah. Brainbug, we can talk. I'll send you a message on Twitter or on Facebook or something, and we'll talk some more about it. It's interesting. What's up, Phil Lister? You just in time for the news. We just spent over a quarter of the show talking about Jordan Peterson and Justin, the empathetic atheist who just converted to Islam. Samuel Gray, the majority of Muslims I met in North Africa and Middle East, and even more the Nation of Islam members, are nicer than Christians I know. Yep, yeah, I can see that, definitely. I can see that, Samuel. I can definitely say that. Yeah. All right. I think we've covered the topic enough, because there are things that, and I just want to say, I'm not into drama within the community. There's a lot of drama within the atheist sphere that I could talk about, but I don't talk about it because really we are facing an existential crisis in this country about white supremacy and fascism. So I don't have the time to talk about crap, to tell you the truth. I'll joke, but to talk about like petty drama, I am so not into that whatsoever. What's up, Derek Cruz? All right. Let's do something funny. Let's do some funny stuff. Let's do some memes, right? We should do that. Here we go. Awkward transition. Here it is. Please urinate with precision and elegance. I just joined a Facebook group that's basically just real life silly signs, and people just post silly signs they find. And you know what? This should be in a lot more urinals, to tell you the truth. They should be especially in comedy clubs, there should be this sign everywhere. I was pretty happy with this joke. This is a joke that I wrote. Someone set me up for, someone did the premise, and then I did a pretty decent punchline, I would say. This is from Twitter. What is Matt Gates's go-to hair product? Absurd answers only. And my response was extra virgin oil. I got a few new Twitter followers for that joke. I wasn't disappointed. And yes, I am Professor Andrew Catnard on Twitter. All right, one more joke. This is the best one. I try to leave the best joke. For those of you who don't know how comedians typically run their sets, it's typically you do your second to funniest joke first, and then you do your funniest joke at the very end, because people don't really remember what goes on in the middle, but they'll remember the first joke you tell them, and they'll remember the last joke you tell them. Here's the last joke. Baby on board. My girlfriend and I both laughed at that. She thought it would be sufficient just to have the baby on board without the sign. It's like, no, you got to have the sign next to the baby on board just to hit it home, right? Baby on board. Oh, perfect. Let's see. You think you're in that group, Brainbug? Hilarious group, isn't it? Hilarious group. You need that bathroom sign for my house. Oh, yeah. Let me tell you, you see things in comedy clubs. You see things. All right. What's the first story? Now that we're 20 minutes into the show, maybe we should talk about Trump official banned. Wow, that's sad. 4-year ban? A 4-year ban from public office. Links in the description. This former Trump official was just banned from federal office for violating the Hatch Act. After making a video featuring New York City Housing Authority buildings and using it at a 2020 Republican National Convention, former Trump official Lynn Patton, who served as regional administrator for the Department of Housing and Urban Development, has been banned from serving in government for 4 years. Wah, wah. On Tuesday, the U.S. official of special counsel announced that Patton agreed to the ban plus a $1,000 fine after legal watchdog group Citizens for Responsibility and Ethics in Washington filed a complaint against her for violating the Hatch Act, which prohibits federal employees from engaging in political activity. Oh, this poor woman, this facilitator of fascism. She cannot hold office. She can't hold office for at least another 4 years. Of course, if the Republicans come into office in 4 years, they'll let her back in. According to documents obtained by Crew, Patton misrepresented her intentions to tenants, telling them the video would highlight nonpartisan issues about the dire conditions of public housing in New York, not that it would be used to promote former President Trump's re-election effort. What? A Trump official was dishonest? I find that, I'm shocked. If I had pearls, I would be grabbing. I'm shocked. During her 4-year tenure at HUD, Patton served as a model Trump official, always towing the line. She heavily focused on owning the libs in her Twitter feed. Believe me, this is good. All right, this is good. Spent a month living in public housing to see conditions firsthand and made a personal appearance at the hearing of Michael Cohen, Trump's former lawyer, who accused his boss of racism. Mark Meadows, who would go on to serve as Trump's chief of staff, used Patton as a representation of why Trump wasn't racist. Of course, she regularly blew off previous accusations being excessively, illegally political in her behavior. In September 2019, when Twitter users called her out for a possible violation of the Hatch Act, she responded, "What part of I don't give a shit do you understand?" Bold words. Now you can't hold public office. Now you got to pay $1,000. The $1,000 isn't a whole lot, but just the idea that this woman here can't, this Trump supporter cannot hold public office for 4 years. That makes me feel good. It's something to celebrate. Something to celebrate, everyone. Let's see what's going on with chat. Elegantly IP, very good. Let's see. How that official was the only person banned for violating the Hatch Act is beyond me. Kellyanne Conway pretty much broke the Hatch Act every day, and she was definitely not the only one. Good question. Good question. Go directly to jail. Do not pass go. Oh, yeah, in a perfect world, right? Or even in a functional society, in a society that has a functional government, there'd just go to jail. The trial, always have to have a trial, but then, you go to jail. What's the next story? Oath enforcers. With a name like Oath Enforcers, you can just make a few assumptions, right? We don't want to judge books by their cover, but Mein Kampf, I think it's pretty clear to judge that by the cover. A name like Oath Enforcers, could it be fascism? Maybe it's fascism. Let's check out this story. How the far-right group Oath Enforcers plans to harass political enemies. You get your Q, you get your American flag there, and of course God over anything. And what I really like about God over everything is that it uses the traditional National Socialist colors of red, black, and white. And if anyone knows anything about the Nazi flag, it's red, black, and white. powerful imagery. All right, let's take a look at the story. A national online network of thousands of right-wing self-described oath enforcers is threatening to unleash harassment tactics on elected officials and government workers around the country, The Guardian can reveal. You know, sometimes The Guardian writes sentences that I don't agree with. Let me continue. While the network founder insists that the group is neither violent nor a militia, internal chats indicate that some members are planning for confrontations with law enforcement and their perceived political enemies. The chats also indicate that white supremacists and others connected with the militia movement are aiming to leverage the group's success in recruiting disillusioned supporters of Donald Trump and the QAnon conspiracy movement, who are being exposed to a wide range of conspiracy theories, white nationalist material, and right-wing legal theories inside the groups. You know, when I was a big L libertarian, yes, not only was I a Christian, but after that, I was also a big L libertarian for a while. And there were a lot of conspiracy legal theories being bantered around within the big L libertarian clique. The co-founder, the Oath Enforcers founder, who makes videos and organizes under the name Vince Edwards, lives off-grid in a remote corner of Castilla County in Colorado's high desert region. Arrest records from 2016 indicate that he has also used the name Christian Piccolo, and other public records associate him with the name Vincent Edward DeLuca. Experts say Edwards' personal history reflects the potential danger in the spread of the sovereign citizen ideology, along with the voluminous online propaganda that history includes an armed standoff with Castilla County Sheriff deputies in 2016. Edwards initially published videos and a printable flyer promoting the formation of oath enforcement teams of at least 30 people in every county in the nation during late 2021, just weeks after his own self-documented attendance at a rally in the national capital on the 6th of January. You know, this is the idea of having 30 armed lunatics in every county in the United States willing to exercise force. That's scary. That's scary. The stated aims of the group include flying posters designed by Edwards, the formation of constitutional enforcement groups. You know, I'm going to stop right here. If you think God over everything is in the Constitution, I don't think you understand the Constitution. I think you might have missed that day in class. I think you might have missed that day. The formation of constitutional enforcement groups for every person to hand out 1,000 of Edwards flyers, and the creation of local hotlines to help enforce the contract we made with our public servants by live streaming interactions with them or lodging spurious legal claims against them. In an introductory video entitled OE Training, Edwards encourages new recruits to the network to emulate so-called First Amendment auditors. On the Oath Enforcers instructional Telegram channel, I guess they have an instructional Telegram channel, Edwards and others have shared documents from a range of organizations around the country which promote false legal and constitutional doctrines associated with the so-called sovereign citizen movement. Yeah, those people are nuts. One document is presented as a judgment by self-styled human rights tribunal with an arrest order for a range of officials and philanthropists, including Anthony Fauci and Bill and Melinda Gates, for the crime of genocide. So yes, there you go. It's a human rights tribunal looking to arrest Anthony Fauci and Bill and Melinda Gates for the crime of genocide. The sovereign citizen movement does not hold a universally consistent set of beliefs. Yeah, that's because their brains are full of angry squirrels. But most adherents believe in a false alternative history of the U.S., and that the present, and especially the law, reflects a conspiracy ordered by esoteric rules. Many treat all legal and governmental authority as illegitimate. Yeah, crazy, nutty people. Hey, Rage, how you doing? Oh, dude, yeah. We have the sovereign citizen people, dangerous people. Like I said, during my years as a big L libertarian, there's quite a bit of sovereign citizen propaganda out there. The only thing you have to do is it's a trust. You just got to make a trust for yourself. And that protects you against everything. And if you do like a signing disclosure after you sign any kind of legal document, that means you're not bound by the signing. There's all this crazy alt legal theory in the sovereign citizen movement. All right. Oh yeah, well, there we go. What no longer surprises me is that the armed white me equals patriotism. Armed black or Latino men equal thugs. Indeed. Someone found Q. I saw that. And it just happened to be the exact person that you thought it was going to be Q. One of the people deep into 8chan, one of the owners of 8chan, that cesspool. F me, man. I saw some of the documentary. Knock. Blows my freaking brain. Yeah, so they found out, and how they found out who was Q is that the guy basically, you get these idiots talking long enough, and they will self-incriminate. They will incriminate themselves, and that's what happened with this guy. Simply Secular Dave. I thought you were working, brother. I've never been oath enforced, but it sounds bad. It doesn't sound good, right? Brain bug. Here we go. Since we have supervillain teams like the Oath Enforcers and Wolverine Watchmen, can we get some real Avengers? Now, I would like that. I would like some real Avengers, right? Yeah, Peterson. Nothing good about Peterson. Peterson has expressed God as substrate, right? So Peterson's idea is that even if you're an atheist, you're still relying on Christianity because blah blah. You're still moral, and you're still using that as your substrate. Scare the racist into gun control. I need coffee. Everyone needs coffee, man. Everyone. I need coffee. I think the world would be a better place if it was. I have to work at 7 a.m. Pacific. All right. What are we doing? We're going to do the halftime show. It's already half past the show. So let's do the halftime show.
I have absolutely nothing to say whatsoever. And yet, through my manner of speaking, I will make it seem like I do. Like what I am saying is brilliant. And maybe, just maybe, you will feel like you've learned something. Now, I'm going to get started with the opening. I'm going to make a lot of hand gestures. I'm going to do this with my right hand. I'm going to do this with my left. I'm going to adjust my glasses. And then I'm going to ask you all a question. By show of hands, how many of you all have been asked a question before? Okay, great. I'm seeing some hands. And again, I have nothing here. Now, I'm going to react to that and act like I'm telling you a personal anecdote. Something to break the tension, something to endear myself a little bit, something kind of embarrassing. And you guys are going to make an awe sound.
I thought that's a brilliant video. Because, especially since we're talking about Jordan Peterson, it's like, well, this is the thing that smart people do, so I'm just going to do it and not have any content whatsoever. And there's going to be a vast portion of people who are going to like it and contribute to the Patreon account. Yeah. What's up, Blazing? Yeah, my favorite Peterson quote is that I don't believe in Jesus, but belief in Jesus is vital for civilization. At its face, prima facie. Is that one of the few Latin terms I know? Oh, see, I can't do that. That's a phone call. I forgot to mute my phone. Probably about a job that I'm going for, but I had to mute it. Yeah. So Peterson, that's a kind of word salad. And there is a Jordan Peterson quote generator that I use to write my pose about Jordan Peterson. And if you haven't looked at, God, there's so much to talk about today in so little time. The author, the current writer for Captain America has basically taken Jordan Peterson's talking points and made the Red Skull state them. Hilarious. Yeah, that's just, yeah. So Jordan Peterson thinks that if you haven't read Dostoevsky, then the entire civilization, then you're just going to go insane, basically. If you don't have, it's these old Christian canards these old Christian, this Christian propaganda that we've heard a million times. Jordan Peterson is just repackaging them. It's BS. All right. The Hook, dude. My girlfriend got me into The Hook. I never realized what a smart song that is until she said, no, Andy, you actually have to listen to The Hook. It's like The Hook is beautiful. Yeah, dude, it's smart. It's the deep structure, man, of how to get the feels out of people, right? You do not need to eat, Andy. Oh, I need to eat. Let's see. Oh, here it is. Glenn Chesterton says, I've had someone try to tell me that the only way I can have morals is if I believe in God. Even if you don't believe in God, Jordan Peterson would say, you still believe in God. I guess my parents accidentally taught me morals since neither one of them are really religious at all. Yeah, as a parent, and this is plainly evident for those of you who have children and grandchildren, your children and your grandchildren will learn more from your example than they will from anything. Oh, thank you, Jesse Bear. They will learn more from your example than anything, than religion, right? Your relationship with your children forms them morally, compassionately. Yeah, Jesse Bear, super sticker, thank you. Every penny counts. I never I don't talk enough about my Patreon account. So hey, or super stickers, but if you can contribute, please contribute. If you can't, I understand. It's tough times for everyone, economically speaking. All right. Wow. And I still forgot to mute my phone. I'm throwing you away. All right. So we just finished the halftime show. What do we got? Greenland. Greenland's important. You're going to say to myself, why is Greenland important? Why? Because the Arctic ice is melting. Because we're just a crazy species throwing, greenhouse gases up in the atmosphere. They're, regardless of what right-wingers say, the global climate change is real. Greenland is becoming more of a strategic importance. And we're going to be hearing more about Greenland as the glaciers melt, because what lies under those glaciers can be valuable. I do tear up when I talk about my Patreon account. I get the feels. All right, so here it is, right? And this is important. This is a hard sell, I know, but Greenland's important. There's only 56,000 people, but Greenland's important. Greenland election, melting ice and mining project on the agenda. They're doing a vote in Greenland. Greenland heads to the polls on Tuesday, yesterday, in snap elections, which could have major consequences for international interest in the Arctic. The vast territory, which does belong to Denmark, but is autonomous, lies between North America and Europe. This is for those Americans who don't know where Greenland is, and has a population of 56,000. Greenland's economy relies on fishing and Danish subsidies, but melting ice and a planned mine could change the course of the vote and the territory's future. Here's what you need to know. What's at stake? Disagreement over the controversial mining project in the south of Greenland has split the government and paved the way for this week's election. The company that owns the site at Kiefeld says the mine has potential to become the most significant Western world producer of rare earths, a group of 17 elements used to manufacture electronics and weapons. I don't know a lot about rare earth minerals, but I know that they are exceptionally important. Exceptionally important. The Forward Party supports the development, arguing that it would provide hundreds of jobs and generate hundreds of millions of dollars annually over several decades, which could lead to greater independence from Denmark. But the opposition Inuit, Community of the People Party, has rejected the proposal amid concerns that the potential for radioactive pollution and toxic waste. Yeah, I think that's a real concern. The future of the mine is significant for the number of countries. The site is owned by an Australian company, Greenland Minerals, which is in turn backed by a Chinese company. For those of you who probably most of you know this, a lot of rare earth minerals are actually in China. Why is Greenland important? Greenland has hit the headlines several times in the recent years, with then President Trump suggesting in 2019 that the U.S. buy the territory. That would have been horrible for Greenlanders. Denmark quickly dismissed as the idea as absurd, but international interest in the territory's future has continued. China already has mining deals with Greenland, while the U.S., which has a key Cold War era base at Thule, has offered millions in aid. So we're going to be hearing more about Greenland. We're going to be hearing more about the Arctic. When you think about a land grab with the melting Arctic ice, there's militarization of the Arctic going on. And like I said, Greenland seems to be in the center of the great power battles or competition that is going to be happening in the next 10, 20, 30 years. Checking out the chat. The link should be in the description. But yeah, I can definitely send you about Greenland. I take it, Brainbug. I'll send you a. Now I wonder whether or not I'm really good at putting links in the description. Oathers, yes, the Greenland post as well as the Trump official ban and the Oathers are all in the description below. And dilithium crystals, that's what they are. They have dilithium crystals in Greenland. Well, here's the thing, right? You never know what's going on in people's heads. I'll say that. You're never absolutely sure. One of the reasons why I like the horror movie Hereditary by Ari Aster is that it really explores the idea that sometimes you don't even know what's going on in the heads of your immediate family. So sometimes you just don't know. You don't ever really know what's going on in another person's head or in their heart. Well, yes, Brainbug, there's going to be a lot of fossils, right? There's going to be a lot of fossils discovery in Greenland. Why, thank you. Hey, Scapegoat Iscariot. Glad to see you here. I will say that I officially became Muslim myself. Yes, you may not know this. Years ago, when I was on the Naked Dinah podcast, I had a buddy of mine who is ex-Muslim and who does a comic strip lampooning Islam. And he came on and said, Andy, the only thing you have to do is say these magic words 3 times and you become an official an official Muslim. So I said the magic words, the magic phrases, the magic phrase 3 times. And so officially, I guess in some eyes, I am officially Muslim. A little bit of, oh, really? That's good. What time's it going to be coming out, Rage, if you don't mind me asking? Greenland is full of dilithium and lactinium. All right. Oh, hey, how about this? Hey, everyone, do the YouTube stuff, like subscribe and use the bell. Maybe get notifications. Notifications are really, I didn't even look at the description. Well, you see that, there are times I'm really good about putting stuff in the descriptions about the links to the stories I cover. Sometimes I'm not as good as I'd like to be, but today I just checked and yes, all the links are in the description. Oh, you're editing it, huh? All right. Very good. Sometime today. Very good, Rage. Thanks. Yeah, I'd be interested in seeing that. 43 minutes. How much more material do I have left? We got to talk about Texas. We have to talk about Texas. Now, some of you are saying, are we going to talk about Texas getting better? Because they've been hitting some real issues lately, right? COVID, religious fundamentalism, the winter storm, that some people still don't have water. Some people still don't have running water in Texas. Cat Search 2000. I'm going to get to that. I got to talk about Texas first. I'm running down on the clock here. I got 11 minutes left. So let's talk about Texas. Texas courts open eviction floodgates. We just stepped off a cliff. How are you going to make things worse? How are you going to make things worse? Well, we're just going to start evicting people. The Texas court system is signaling that it will no longer enforce a federal order aimed at stopping evictions during the coronavirus pandemic. That could clear the way for landlords to push ahead with tens of thousands of eviction cases that have been on hold. The timing could be particularly painful for families. We all know that most people who are homeless are families, right? I digress. Coming after Congress has approved billions of dollars to help people pay the rent they owe to avoid eviction. But before the vast majority of renters have been able to receive any of that money. Let me say that again. Congress has approved billions of dollars to help people pay the rent they owe to avoid eviction, but before the vast majority of renters have been able to receive any of that money. So the money is coming, but we're going to evict you before we get the money. Legal aid attorneys are raising the alarm that the state is about to allow a wave of people to be put out of their homes with no place to go. What has changed is that the emergency order issued by the Texas Supreme Court has just expired. It had required judges to enforce a federal eviction moratorium from the Centers of Disease Control and Prevention, under which landlords cannot evict people, like Doherty, if they sign a declaration saying they have no good housing options. So if you sign this document that says you don't have any good housing options, then you can stay in your home, even if you can't pay the rent. Well, that's gone. The CDC's order is aimed at preventing the spread of COVID-19 from people being forced into more crowded living situations. Well, that makes sense, such as homeless shelters or doubling up with other families. That makes perfect logical sense. But Texas isn't about that, my friends. Texas isn't about rational policy decisions, as we've seen so many times. After the Texas Supreme Court didn't extend the directive, an advisory body to the Texas courts went further. The Texas Justice Court Training Center issued guidance essentially telling judges it's not their job to enforce the CDC's order. Courts are no longer authorized by the Texas Supreme Court to abate, put on hold, cases based on the CDC eviction moratorium. It reads, groups that are trying to prevent unnecessary evictions are worried. Yes. Renters who are behind on rent are on their own, said Christina Rosales, Deputy Director of Texas Housers, a prominent affordable housing group. That's the message the Texas Supreme Court is sending, and we are gravely concerned as well. You should. States matter. I've said it once, I'll say it again. States matter, especially here in the United States. I think I went into this I was on B's channel 2 weeks ago, and someone said that they were coming in from one of the Nordic countries to move to Louisiana, and I practically had a panic attack for them. It's like, maybe not Louisiana. There's I could give you a list of states that you don't want to move to. Texas, Mississippi, Texas, so bad it requires several notes of not moving there, several warnings. All right, check out the chat. All right, blazing. Yes. The interesting thing about Greenland being called Greenland was that it was a con. They just didn't want people going to Iceland. That's how I understand it, blazing. So there are a lot of people in Iceland already. And the Vikings were like, the Viking leadership were like, maybe we should call Greenland to trick people to moving there because we don't want them here. That's how I understand the story, blazing. Oh, I just got kicked off Facebook again? Sorry to hear that, doctor. What is amazing following your exploits on Facebook is that you're on Facebook for more than 2 minutes at a time. The volcano is spewing in Iceland. That's right. I believe the island is being, or the islands are being, torn apart or separated over time. Yep, Greenland. Yeah, Greenland's in. I would like to go to Greenland, to tell you the truth. I wouldn't mind going to Greenland. I don't know what is more stupid. I love it when someone starts their set. What are they going to say? I don't know what's more stupid because I feel like there are options and maybe a challenge implied. I don't know what is more stupid. Trump trying to buy Greenland. The U.S. politician saying Greenland used to be so green, so climate change doesn't exist. Or James bringing a snowball into Congress. Oh, so many stupid things. So many stupid things going on here. I'm not sure. I'm not sure about that. You know, the one thing that I would be concerned about if I was living in Greenland is that countries that have a lot of mineral wealth, that is a danger. That is a danger to their democracy, because all that kind of wealth can warp the system. The difference between Saudi Arabia and Norway, both two countries with a lot of oil, is that Saudi Arabia, and this is not me, this is not an original thought by any case for me, but Saudi Arabia found oil before it found democracy, which it never really has found democracy, while Norway found democracy before the oil, and that's why Norway has been able to cope with mineral wealth. And even though there's been some corruption in Norway about the mineral wealth. So that's my concern about finding a ton of mineral wealth in Greenland, is that the people there have to be very careful about keeping an eye on where the money goes and how it warps their society. Let's see. The Blazing says, there are almost no jobs in Greenland, but they have the same minimum wage as Denmark of $21 an hour. Yeah, from the article, it says that basically Greenland lives off of fishing and Danish subsidies. And there's only 56,000 people there. Not a big population. Yes, Brainbug, I heard that too. I remember that. The ecology of Greenland during the Little Ice Age was sufficient for high zone agriculture until perhaps the 1500s. Yeah, so basically it was a lot more habitable. People could grow more things in Greenland for a window of time, and then it became icy, less hospitable. Let's see. Nobody moved to Florida either. Oh no, my friend, never. Yeah, not living in Florida whatsoever. I think I'm going to wrap the show up a bit early. I have a video about Mitch McConnell talking about businesses they shouldn't be interfering with politics. Of course, about the Major League Baseball taking, the All-Star game from Atlanta over to Colorado. My girlfriend being from Colorado is pretty happy about that. So yeah, I was going to show that video, but we're really running up against the wall for time. I do a post-show open room, basically. We can talk about Justin's conversion to Islam. We can talk about Jordan Peterson. We can talk about Greenland. We can talk about anything we want. Link is in the description if you want to come in, the backstage, and we can talk, like I said, sometimes I have a bunch of people show up for the after show. Sometimes it's only me. It was only me yesterday. And so I talked for about 10 minutes and then had to stop in military. See, I just had to stop in Greenland as a military vacation. Interesting. So yeah, so if you want to pop in, and like I said, we can talk about anything you want. I am pretty flexible. That's at 10 o'clock. I'm going to be doing the video. I'm going to be showing you a funny little video to put a bow on all of this Michigas, whatever we did today, whatever tangential crazy stuff we did here today. Let's do the last video.
Babe, I got the popcorn. Ready for movie night? What is going on over here? Are you really having movie night without me?
Are you really that jealous?
No. I'm not having this. I'm not having this. Okay, come on, Millie. Millie.
Don't touch her. She wants to stay.
Okay, you, Chase. Come over here.
Leave him.
Oh my God.
Oh, the tables have turned.
I'm leaving.
Bye.
I got 1 minute to talk about cats. I got 1 minute. So my girlfriend and I have been looking for a cat online because we have to make appointments to see the cats. And believe it or not, cats have been at shelters, have been flying off, have been just flying. Like a cat comes into the shelter and they get taken pretty quickly right now. So it's tough. It's tough for us to find. I mean, we've actually talked about just buying a cat. We would rather have a cat rescue, from a shelter, but we've talked about actually buying a cat. All right. So everyone, if you want to pop in at 10 o'clock, and do an open room, that's fine. Links are in the description if you want to pop into the back room, and then we'll just talk for an hour or so. And if you don't want to, I'll just talk for 10 minutes, and we'll just take it from there. Of course, I'm doing Jenga at 3 o'clock today too. Everyone, I'm going to show the video. I'm going to show the video thanking my patrons and YouTube supporters. Thank you, everyone, for who, if you're supporting the channel, if you're subscribing, thank you. If you're ringing the bell notifications, that's pretty awesome too. But thank you all. I'll see you at 10 o'clock. If not, then maybe at 3 o'clock. And then if not, maybe tomorrow at 9 a.m.